Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Hockey Mountain High podcast. Could be the last trade deadline edition. We really have no idea, but seems like the Avs have addressed all their needs here at this trade deadline right now. They have acquired Nic Roy from the Toronto Maple Leafs for a first and fifth round pick, and Nick Blankenburg from the Nashville Predators to address their seventh defenseman. I think some people are a little disappointed about Nic Roy because it's not the home run swing that maybe we were hyping up all this time. Because we were talking about Nazem Kadri the whole time, right?
And I think we were talking about Nazem Kadri, and that makes it when you have a franchise icon like Nazem Kadri, you keep your fingers crossed that you're going to be able to pull something off. And it sounds like everything was close to done with Nazem Kadri, but just couldn't get over the finish line. So the Avs have to make a pivot, and they pivot to Nic Roy, who we talked about on the last episode, that he's not the sexiest name, but he's going to get the job done for what you need.
Yeah. I mean, Nic Roy, before this year in Toronto, was very much considered one of the premier third-line centers in the NHL when he was in Vegas. And you look at him right now, he's had a down year in Toronto, much like the Maple Leafs as a whole, and just doesn't have, I think, that same name value that he did. But looking at this move as a whole, I don't mind it all that much. It feels like it very much addresses the 3C need that the Avs had. It's just not that home run swing that maybe some people were expecting. But Nic Roy, I mean, we've been talking about him being potentially an option for a couple of weeks now. You look at him, how he fits the cap situation, how he's not a rental. You have him for next year, how he's a very good playoff performer as well, a very strong defensive center, maybe not the most offensively gifted guy in the world, but you look at the kinds of players that especially Jared Bednar likes to have in the Avs bottom six. Nic Roy very much fits that bill.
Yeah, he fits the bill perfectly. And like you said, the key part is you get to keep him for another year after this at $3 million. Like, that is the biggest key. And we found with the Avs that they're going to, when they trade for a player, they want security and they want the idea of that player being around for more than just 22 games.
Yeah, because I think there is a lot of sticker shock going around at the first round pick that people are looking at. Nic Roy, oh my God, he got 5 goals. What are we talking about? This guy, he's getting a first round pick from us. That doesn't make any sense. You look at what probably the market is for centers right now. You look at what the Wild gave up for Michael McCarron, that being a second round pick. Nic Roy is a much better player than McCarron. I don't mind the first round pick all that much. I do think it's like maybe a little much. If this was a rental, I'd say that was too much. But now knowing that you have Roy for another year after this, and now your center depth is very locked down, where McKinnon, Brock Nelson, Nic Roy, Jack Drury. Because what have we basically been talking about since September is Jack Drury. I don't mind him at 3C. He's a very good third-line center, but he is an elite fourth-line center. And that is probably the one thing, more than anything, they're going to look to address at the trade deadline. Nic Roy accomplishes exactly that. He's going to slot right in on the third line. He's going to push Jack Drury down to that fourth-line center level. And just the center depth is like one of the most important things you need in the playoffs. And Nic Roy, the Avs like their defensive-minded bottom sixers. Literally look at their lineup. It is full of these guys. They love the players like this. And I just think there's a little bit of that human element for us at the very least. It's like, oh, it's not Nazem Kadri. Oh, it's still giving up the first-round pick. But Nic Roy is a very good player that I think is going to fit in here. He's not without his drawbacks, I will say. But I think the way he's going to play is going to outpace a lot of those things, because the biggest drawback you have with Nic Roy is his speed. He's not very fast. If anything, he's one of the slowest guys in the league.
One of the slowest guys in the league, and it gives you Ryan Johansson flashbacks. I've seen that going around, which I don't necessarily think is true. I don't think Nic Roy's washed like Ryan Johansson was.
We got the nickname right there. If he sucks, he's washed.
Yeah, he's just washed. Yeah, that's good. I didn't even think of that. But it's similar because, and I saw people being like, Casey Milstead wasn't the fastest player either. it's different in that aspect because Nick Roy is playing the third line role. He's going to play 10 to 14 minutes a night. He's not going to be centering a line with Nichushkin, Landeskog on his wing. He's going to be a third line center who is going to help on the penalty kill. He's going to help win big faceoffs, which you look at this team in the past, they have not been a good faceoff team. Now you look at it, McKinnon's improved on draws. Brock Nelson's fantastic at draws. Nick Roy's fantastic at draws. And now Jack Drury is fantastic at draws too. And those are going to be massive when it comes playoff time. I remember being on the show last time we recorded and saying Nazem Kadri is going to be an Av. It is a little bit of a bummer that it's Nick Roy, but it's also, you have to just reset your expectations that Nick Roy is still a very good player. And I remember vividly how much of a pain in the ass he was to play against when he was in Vegas.
Yeah, I think if the Avs made this move in July or June, I guess, because that trade for Roy with Marner happened at the end of June. If the Avs made that trade first, I think there would be a very different attitude surrounding him. Because Nick Roy has very much been that guy throughout his Vegas tenure as being one of those more high-end third-line centers. And you look at his playoff production, it's been very strong. It's just everything in Toronto has just kind of been a mess this year. And now you're sending Nick Roy back to a place where the expectation is the Stanley Cup, like it was in Vegas, because that stuff affects players a lot. And you look at his career, the stretch he's had in Toronto is very uncharacteristic compared to what he's done in Vegas over the last several years. Also, kind of a thing I forgot about, he's played with Victor Olofsson last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
His line mate.
Yeah. He played with Victor Olofsson, and he's a Stanley Cup champion, which you can never have enough of those on your team. And he was if I remember right, he was pretty important on that Vegas team that won the Cup. He played a very big role. He scored some big goals in that playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the playoff run, I assume it's the one he played 22 games, and that would make sense. He had 3 goals, 8 assists, 11 points. He was a half a point per game as a third-line center in the playoffs for them. That's very good.
What more can you ask for? That's elite production at a third-line center. And I just think the expectations are going to be a little bit different when it comes to Colorado because I'm not asking him to do that. Would it be fantastic if he would? Yeah. But we have enough power in the lineup that can score that you just need someone who's going to go out there, eat 10 to 11 minutes of ice time, and be a productive player. That's all you really need.
Jared Bednar loves his low event bottom sixers, where the top 6 is going to dominate most teams they go up against and get you most of your goals. Really, as long as the bottom 6 is shutting a lot of other teams down and just making it clear that it's not going to be easy just because McKinnon's off the ice, basically, that's the kind of style that the Avs really want to play. And Nick Roy allows them to do that, especially with his abilities on the penalty kill and everything. And he has the ability to chip in offensively. It has not worked this year in Toronto. He has 5 goals in 59 games. But ever since he broke out in Vegas, 15 goals, 14 goals, 13 goals, 15 goals, like a pretty consistent 15-goal guy throughout his career. And in the playoffs is able to chip in big moments and get those big goals as well. Again, you're worried about the foot speed. Like that is the biggest concern with him, and that he's not having a very good year. I think that's where the first gets a little frustrating, where usually a guy's having a down year, and maybe that brings the price down on a player like Nick Roy. But I also think, looking at from the Leafs perspective, of they're not trying to be this bad next year. And Nick Roy is a very good player, a kind of player that they're going to want to have stick around and everything. So the only way the Avs could make this move is with the first-round pick, because the Leafs did not have to trade Nick Roy. He's still available there for next year. If they were bad next year, maybe this comes down to a second, third-round pick in next year's. But with especially the extra year and how good Nick Roy is, and I think very valued around the NHL as well, it does feel a little much, but I understand where that pick comes from.
Yeah, and I'm willing to make a bet. I would say that pick from the Avs is going to be traded to another team.
Yeah.
If I had to make a bet, that's just where I feel like it's going to go. Because like you said, the Maple Leafs aren't going to try to do like a rebuild. They're just going to try to retool is the word that I've been seeing a lot with the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, they're selling.
Yeah, they're selling, and I don't hate it. And when I look at it from Nick Roy, I think he's a good player. He's not a great player, but he's a good player. And
I think for the role you're expecting of him, he's a great third-line center.
Yes. Third-line center is the only thing that the Avs really needed. They needed another center because, like I said, Jack Drury's been awesome. He's been great filling in for that role. I mean, he's on the number one team in the league, and he's been the third line center the entire year. But you move him down to fourth line center, and you're going, wow, okay, this is going to be a deadly center trio. And I have to ask you this: what did you like? Because when Charlie Coyle got traded here last year, I feel like I set my expectations a little too high for him to produce offensively. So maybe it's because I'm tempering my expectations with Nick Roy. Is that kind of what you're doing as well? Because I'm not expecting a big offensive outburst from Nick Roy.
No. Like when it comes to Roy versus Coyle, last year is like Coyle has a little bit more offensive firepower. Yep. I think it has the ability to do that. And plus his regular season performance, I think, painted our expectations going into the playoffs, where he looked very solid pretty much the entire time and struggled in the playoffs. With Nick Roy, you're not expecting a lot of offense from him, but enough for a third line center. Basically, again, you look at 15 goals a year from your third line center. Is that an unreasonable expectation? You go through a playoff run, 5 goals in a playoff run. Is that an unreasonable thing to expect from a guy like Nick Roy?
I don't think so. I think he's going to score a very big goal for the Avs in this playoff run. And it's just going to be, we'll look at this trade deadline, and hopefully the Avs are winning the cup at the end of the year. And we're just going to look back and be like, yeah, first round pick for Nick Roy was nothing.
Because I mean, we can break down trades all day long and be like, oh, this is too much. Oh, this guy would have been a better fit. If the Avs win, it's a great trade.
Yep.
Right. Then we look back on this deadline and 3 years ago, oh, we need another 2026 trade deadline from the Avs. Like the same way we look back on 2022. Remember when they traded for Arturi Lekin, and people are like, oh my God, they gave up Justin Barron? Dude, that's a lot for a third liner in Arturi Lekin. Like the only thing that matters is if you win this trade. And like comment from Robin saying, so what is left in the cupboard before tomorrow's deadline? Not much. They have
not a lot
stuff. The first round pick is the big one out there. But like we said, the Avs have a lot of cap space left to play with, which makes me hesitate on saying they're done, because they have the room to make moves. They still have the 2 second-round picks next year, which are not worthless. Like those can definitely still get you something. They still have Gulyev. They still have Nabokov. I don't think Ivan is a worthless trade piece. Like I don't think he's massive, but I think he could definitely still fetch you something in a trade like that. It's like, it is a very bare cupboard. Right,
it's not very good.
There's going to come a point in time where they're going to run out of things to trade. Yeah. They're not quite there yet, but like that, this faucet is coming on empty right now.
It always just makes me laugh, because it's just like, you have, was our last first round pick Gulyev and Richie? Were those our last first round picks that we used?
Yeah.
Because you traded back to get Nabokov. And here's the thing with it, where the Avs are picking late in the 20s in the first round. I forget what that stat was that we did during the draft pre-coverage, that it's very unlikely to get a player outside the lottery that's going to greatly improve your team. It's just very unlikely.
Yeah. I think we are at the point now as Avs fans where we're not even looking at like, oh, what player could we have gotten with this? Right. It's how are we using these assets to their best potential? And I think it is a perfectly fair criticism of the Avs management to look at the last 3 years, basically, and say at the trade deadline, they're a little too gung-ho with some of their draft picks. You look at a lot of those trades they've made over the years ago. Was that second round pick really necessary? Was that third round pick really necessary? What was the first here really necessary? Could you have gotten away with the second here, basically? Like, you look at a lot of those and go, did it need to be that much?
Right.
But the kinds of players that they're bringing in have made it kind of hard to care about a lot of those. Like, you go back to the Brock Nelson trade last year, where the sticker shock of Cal Ritchie and losing what was their best prospect at that time. I have not thought about Cal Ritchie in months, in a long time. And again, I wish him all the best, but like Brock Nelson has blown my expectations out of the water.
He's going to score 40 goals this year. Cal Ritchie wasn't scoring 40 goals for the Avs for probably another 5 years.
Yeah. And again, you think about, could the Avs have used the first round pick better? I don't know. Maybe, probably. Because again, we talked about Nazem Kadri right off the bat. It sounds like that trade was very close.
Very close.
That first round pick almost certainly would have been in use for that. But when you look at what this solves for the Avs, they have elite center depth now, like some of the best center depth in the NHL from top to bottom, from McKinnon all the way down to Drury. 2, this is not a rental. This is not. You have Nick Roy for another year, like we've said, which is very important. Even if Nick Roy sucks and it totally blows up in your face and it doesn't work, you can recoup something from it. Not a lot.
A third, maybe.
Yeah, you can still get something back from it. So it's not just rental blows up in your face, he walks for nothing, kind of. He either works out and you keep him for the next year, or it's, not the best fit, didn't really work out. You can go get another second, third round pick for the guy.
Yeah. Because we talked about it at the start of the year, where if Charlie Coyle was making like $2 million, I don't think he gets traded.
Yeah,
it's
I just he was making 4, he still would be here.
Yeah, it's just that he was making so much money, and that's where you can go back and look like how they didn't get any cap retention from Boston. That's the only reason why Charlie Coyle got traded, is because he was making too much money for a third line center. Yeah. If he was making what Nick Roy was making, Charlie Coyle's not leaving the Avs. He's still here this year. And
also $3 million for Nick Roy is really good. That's a really good deal. And I know that Toronto's performance and how he's been on the Leafs has colored a lot of people's opinion of him over the last little bit. You do not have to look that far back in the future or in the past, excuse me, to look at how.
It'd be hard to look back in the future.
Look back in the future. That is very much an oxymoron, like me, a moron. But you don't have to look far back to see. Nick Roy has been a very, very good third line center on a Stanley Cup winning team in the past, and a Vegas team that is always going after the Stanley Cup. Like he knows what to do in this situation. And again, I am concerned about the speed very much. He's not just slow. He is one of the slowest players in the league. What was the stat we were laughing at before?
It was like 20 mile per hour bursts. Like McDavid had like 400 and Roy only has like 30.
So Nick Roy, 20 to 22 mile an hour bursts this season, even reaching that category. He's done it 24 times. Connor McDavid has done it 411.
Yeah.
So the average for that for players is about 59, almost 60, basically. If you round up, Roy is under half of that, basically. And he has never at any point gotten above 22 miles an hour. He's not fast at all.
So what you're telling me is that just don't have him match up against Connor McDavid in a one-on-one.
With some of his defensive numbers, I mean,
who knows?
But
who knows? It's just one of those trades. Like I wasn't surprised when that came through this morning that was the move, and they needed a center. And you look at the rest of the options; it doesn't sound like Ryan O'Reilly is going to get traded. Nazem Kadri, the Avs wanted him desperately. They were willing to do a lot of things, but it sounds like Calgary ownership just said, no, we're not doing that. And they pivoted to Nick Roy. And you look at a guy like Vincent Trocheck, who said he wouldn't come out west. He wanted to stay on the East Coast.
Yeah, that's a lot
That's all the center options. Yeah. That's all of them.
That's a lot of them off the board right there. Like just looking at the trade board we put together, O'Reilly off the board. Kadri, they tried. They did their best with it. Charlie Coyle was just more of a laugh than anything else, because the Blue Jackets were not doing that with us again. Well, Trocheck, it doesn't it sounds like Minnesota's made an offer for him, but just doesn't sound like he really wants to come out west. Could still happen, but Boone Jenner, the Blue Jackets are fighting for a playoff spot. They're not doing that right now. And then the guy we had on our list, I mean, credit to us, 2 trades so far. We've gotten 2 of 3 on our trade board here.
Yeah,
so we had Nick Roy, we had Brett Kulak on our boards, and for Nick Roy, it's kind of one of the better options left, especially for third line center. I think there's another aspect of it. Of the last several years, we have been pursuing second line centers.
Yes.
And we've been talking about how this guy plays in the top 6. And even still this year, we're talking about Nazem Kadri and Ryan O'Reilly, guys that are borderline first line centers in a pinch, where Ryan O'Reilly, not ideal, but he could do that. Nazem Kadri, not ideal, but he can play first line center. You're not going to cup with him at first line, but he can do it. You're talking about the premium of premiums at third line center, where then they actually just go and get a straight up third line center. I think there is a little bit of, we've gotten so used to talking about second line centers for so long that you look at Nick Roy and go, that's not a second line center. What
are we going to do next year if it comes to the fact where we keep all these centers and we don't have to talk about the Avs acquiring a center?
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Nazem Kadri anyway. Like, we know that.
Like, it's just, ever since we've been doing the show, it's like, we need a center. We need a second line center. We need a third line center. But if everything goes to plan, there's going to be no need for a center.
Like playing along in that world for a second, where next season the Avs have all their centers and all their goalies. What are we going to talk about all year? Like, there's going to be nothing left. Like, I don't know. Let's get a third line winger, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Like, it's just going to be. They're really kind of depriving us of content, because this has been a majority of our content for 4 or 5 years now. So
the best possible content you can get in hockey is literally just making things up and speculating trades. People eat that shit up.
Yeah, they eat it up. So I don't know what we're going to talk about if everything goes to plan. But I'm excited to see Nic Roy. I don't know if you saw, it's very on brand. I'm sure you saw this. He may not play tomorrow against Dallas due to immigration issues.
Oh, I didn't even consider for a second that he would play. We might have him for the next Dallas game in 10 days.
Maybe. Yeah, it's immigration issues for him. So it's not likely he plays against Dallas tomorrow, which is just so on brand for the Avs whenever they make a trade. Like, immigration issues, we don't know if they're going to be able to play right away.
It's like the Avs play Dallas again on March 18th. Maybe he's available for that one.
Maybe.
13 days. Because where it's like, oh, he's not playing against Dallas, but he's probably not playing on Sunday against Minnesota or Edmonton on that Tuesday. We might see him against Seattle next week, maybe.
Maybe. Keep our fingers crossed. But I just thought that was very on brand for the Avs. Because what was it? Was it Lecky? He took like 2 weeks.
Lecky took forever. We did this at the game we were at the Sharks game we were at. Yeah. There was someone else that took like 2 weeks to get through immigration, and we could not for the life of us remember who it was.
Yeah, if you know who it is, please put it in the comments.
Like, I have a memory of it being from Calgary, right? Like, I'm not crazy that there was someone. I don't think you're crazy. Calgary. Yeah.
But I can't remember. I can't remember. So it is very on brand for Nic Roy he's going to miss the game against Dallas on Friday. Who knows? Maybe it's a shocker he gets there, but based on how immigration works, I don't think it's
if he's there, I'm worried like laws got broken.
Yeah. The Avs, Stan Kroenke called in a favor to get him down here.
He called in a favor. He's like, listen, $2 million, turn the other way.
Yeah, turn the other way. But it is just like, I don't know. It's just so funny when I saw that. But I'm excited to see what Nic Roy can do. I think he's going to be a great addition to the team. He adds that third line punch that you need, and he's a proven playoff performer. Like, you know what you get with him in the playoffs, and I'm just imagining a world where it's him, Logan O'Connor, Parker Kelly maybe on the line one time. Like, your bottom six looks so much better with Nic Roy in it. And that's not a dig on Brindley or Bardakov, but you bump a guy like Parker Kelly back down to the fourth line. You get Logan O'Connor back. You have Jack Drury.
It's an accident that those guys are getting bumped. And that is not a dig on Bardakov or Brindley. I am the number one Gavin Brindley fan of anyone, quite frankly. But the Avs, with where they are right now, I don't think they're super comfortable having a 21-year-old rookie who has struggled with inconsistency starting in the playoffs. I don't think they mind turning to him when people get hurt, but I don't think they want that to be plan A, is Gavin Brindley starts on the fourth line. And Bardakov has struggled with coach trust all season. Like, even if the Avs make no other moves, those guys are already getting pushed out of the lineup once LOC's back, once Lecky's back. Once Keeby comes back, we might not even notice because he's probably not going to get into the lineup even still.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But it makes the bottom six look way more complete, and they aren't done. Like, they still have potential to add more players. They do. We both agree that they probably aren't going to, but they could. Like, we could be on here tomorrow night, which we're going to do an episode either way after the Stars game, talking about another trade. Like, they could still realistically go out and get a guy like Bobby McMahon. They could still go get a guy like Blake Coleman if they wanted to. They could.
Yeah, like they have the salary cap space, but the Avs don't have any more needs. They have filled out everything they need to do. They got their third line center, they improved their third pair, and they got their seventh defenseman. That's really all this, like, going back to the conversations we were having on this team in December. That's really all this team needed, is just a little more security on defense, where it's like, I see people debating, like, is Kulak better than Girard? Like, I don't think that's the point. I think Kulak fits what this team needs right now better than Sam Girard did, especially like we said when that trade happened, where Sam Malinsky is doing Sam Girard's job just better than him right now. They didn't need Sam Girard. And everything I've seen from Brett Kulak over these first several games, he's been terrific. I love him. He's been a perfect third pair defenseman on this team. And I just, before we totally move on to talk briefly about Blankenberg, is I am a little concerned about the lack of scoring in the bottom six. And obviously you're not going to get bona fide goal scorers in your bottom six all the time, but it's like Victor Olofsson, very hot and cold. We know that. Ross Colton is snake bitten like we have never seen before. The dude cannot buy anything. Nic Roy averages about 13 to 15 goals a year. He's kind of been in one this year a little bit. You're hoping you can recapture a lot of that now that he's come here. Like, when does Parker Kelly cool off? Like, is this just going to be a thing that keeps up forever into the playoffs? Like, it's so, like, hypothetically, you get to the playoffs and Parker Kelly's not scoring every 2 games. What are you getting from your bottom six production-wise at that point? Jack Drury, you get a couple from him every now and again. It's like Logan O'Connor, we literally do not know what that looks like. Like, we have no idea what version of Logan O'Connor you're going to get, which I think leaves some options on the table of, yeah, maybe they do still go out and get another guy. Like, there are 2 guys I really wanted that were on my board that just went before we started here. Michael Bunting for a third to Dallas. For a third, I really would have wanted to be in on that. And then you had basically Warren Fogle to Ottawa for a second and a pick swap, which I really would have wanted to be in on that because the Avs have the room to make all of these moves, basically. I would have loved to be on those, but like, there's still more moves out there to be made. Yeah. They don't need to make any of them. And also, like, we've seen Ross Colton's name floated around in rumors. Like, if they do get another guy, what use does Victor Olofsson have anymore? Like, is he getting squeezed out of the lineup at that point? Are you better off moving him? We've seen Val's name floated out there a little bit, but how much of this team's chemistry do you want to really interrupt? It's a conversation that we've had dating back months of, are you really going to trade guys on this team? Because it seems like everyone's kind of clicking a little bit. And I think January has changed that perception a little bit after they struggled a bit. But now that Gabe's back and they've gone 4-5, do you upset the locker room and trade Colton and trade Olofsson kind of things? Like, there are still interesting things out there. But it almost just leads me back to, well, they're probably just not going to do any of that then.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if we wake up tomorrow and, like, during the deadline, they get like a guy we're not expecting, just like a 4th-line winger who's just going to be an extra. Like, that wouldn't surprise me. But I still don't think they're trading anyone else off the roster. Like, they got rid of Girard for Kulak, which I think that's probably the only roster player you're going to see get moved. Like, that's just my honest opinion. I would love a guy. Like, could you imagine if they add a guy like Blake Coleman still? Like, as a pure rental?
It's just like, I just don't want to get people's hopes up that that's going to happen. Like, that the Avs, they have the space, so they're going to make a big move. And then we get to the deadline tomorrow and they didn't do anything. And I think there are going to be people that are disappointed by that, because with the cap space, and they cleared cap space with Sam Girard. I almost feel like that was just a side effect. I don't think they did it for that reason. I really do think that they wanted to have Kulak in the lineup over Girard and the extra cap.
I think they wanted up Kulak, and I really think they wanted Kadri. I really think, like, it sounds like Kadri wanted to come home, and the Avs wanted him, and Flames ownership was just like, sorry guys, we're not allowing this to happen.
I mean, the ownership thing is speculation on our part. That's not confirmed anywhere, but I can try to pull up basically that thing that Elliot Friedman put in his little article he put out. So the exact quote is, prior to trading for Nicholas Roy, Colorado and Calgary did discuss Nazem Kadri. I have to assume the same picks Toronto received, the 1st and the 5th, were available, and there was an understanding of some level of retention, never got over the finish line. And basically also AJ has been saying that the Flames ownership is not really keen on retaining on Nazem Kadri for 3 years after this. So basically what I'm reading between the lines, is they came to an agreement on a deal. Flames ownership did not want to retain salary. And also, you have to remember with the Nazem Kadri stuff is, we think it would be best for Calgary to trade him before he really starts to decline, but they don't have to do that. No. Like, just because the Avs aren't getting him doesn't mean he's going anywhere, because let's say Minnesota is talking to them. They're having the same problem. There's not many teams that are knocking down the door to get Kadri at 7 for 3 more years, with the decline starting to happen. It's like that doesn't just automatically mean the Avs swung and missed and now he's going to a division route. He might not get traded at all.
No, I actually don't think he's going to, because it's just going to be the Flames are opening a new building next year. They do have to have some players. Like, they have to. they have to, because they trade Weegar. They're going to trade Coleman. Like, you do have to have some players left to play in that new arena. Like, and I can see why. Like, there's not every owner's a billionaire like our Lord and Savior Stan Kroenke and can just afford to pay someone $3 million not to play on your team. That's just not.
Yeah.
It's just not the case sometimes.
I mean, retention beyond a year has always been a very touchy subject for teams. Like, sometimes you'll see a San Jose retain on Tomas Hertl for 5-6 years, basically, on whatever that deal ended up being. But a lot of times teams don't want to do it. They don't want to pay a player to not play for them unless it's a buyout. But and not only not play for you, play for someone else. And if you're Calgary, to play for another Western Conference team, it's a very tough conversation to have. And it sounds like the Avs really did everything they could with this. Yeah. And O'Reilly wasn't getting traded. Trocheck doesn't want to come out west. You look at the options left available on the board. Nick Waugh, I think, is someone that does work on the scene. He's not fast, which not fast multiple times. Other than that, he does fit the bill for what Jared Bednar likes in a player. And he wants, he wants to feel safe. He wants to feel secure. And he loves the guys in those bottom six that when they puts them on the ice, he knows everything's going to be okay. Jared Bednar likes to be told everything's going to be okay when Nathan MacKinnon and Marty Necas are not on the ice. And the bottom six that the Avs have right now is very built for, one, low event hockey, and two, frustrating teams. And Nick
dude, it's a whole, the bottom six is just dogs. The entire bottom six is just a bunch of pain in the asses to play against. It's just Parker Kelly, dog. Logan O'Connor when he's healthy, dog. Jack Drury, dog. It's just, it's a whole bottom six of players that just annoy the shit out of you. And if they aren't on your team, you hate them.
Yes, exactly. We kind of mentioned this a little bit before we got distracted. It was Nick Waugh in Vegas was a big problem for the Avs.
Yes, he was a huge part of that neutral zone trap they ran on the Avs and just created havoc. He was the one who was going out there against the MacKinnon line for a lot of those times these teams matched up.
Yeah. He is a very, very good third line center.
Yeah. I feel good about it. I'm excited for him. And we just have to wait until maybe the end of March to see him play with immigration. Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll see him playoff time. But who knows with this stuff?
Maybe we'll get one game in before the playoffs.
Yeah. Just overall feeling as a whole, if I had to grade this trade off the top of my head, I would rate it a solid B.
Yeah, I feel good. B plus.
Yeah, B plus. I think price little high, little bit of sticker shock that's tough to get around. Not the fastest guy in the world on a down season. You're hoping that price comes down a little bit, but when you look at just overall what I think the fit on this team, being a very good third line center and knowing what he can be when he was in Vegas, I like it. And plus the extra year as well. I think it is a solidly good move. Not a home run. I don't think it's not the Nazem Kadri, great vibes. We're going to go win the Stanley Cup again because we're the power of friendship kind of thing. But the kind of move that when we're in the second round and looking back on some moves, might look back, that was a very solid addition for the team.
Yeah, very solid addition. So I am very excited for Nick Waugh. I'm going to put this comment up just because it's funny.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, it's Ryan Johansson 2.0. I can see how you would think that, David. My thought process with it is Ryan Johansson was bad before the Avs got him. And we tricked ourselves into thinking he was going to be a top six center. He's not.
Nick Waugh going from what he was in Vegas to Ryan Johansson on the Avs in a year would be one of the biggest fall offs ever.
That's an impressive speed run of decline.
That is he went from being a premier third line center on a Stanley Cup contender in Vegas to essentially out of the league and in lawsuits in less than a year. That's how bad Ryan Johansson was here. I see the concern with the speed. You can't just brush past that. That is a very weird move for the Avs to make, to go out and get a guy who is not only not fast, one of the slowest guys in the league. but he does a lot of things very well. Ryan Johansson did one thing maybe averagely, and that was on the power play, which, I mean, these days, maybe not the worst thing in the world, but Ryan Johansson was not good at anything here. Nick Roy might not be fast. He's going to be very good on the penalty kill. He is going to fit a lot of the things that the Avs like to do defensively, averages about 15-ish goals a year pretty consistently when he's not playing with the mess that is this year's Toronto Maple Leafs. And again, you have him for another year. And it's not like he's playing with McKinnon. Like, he might play the entirety of this year, playoffs, and all of next year, and never once touch the ice with Nathan McKinnon. And also, like, when we got Arturi Lehkonen, concerns about his speed, not too much of a problem anymore. Brock Nelson's not the fastest guy in the world. It's like, I understand the concern, but it's not the same as Ryan Johansson. I think a lot of people just immediately jump to the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm cool with that. You can jump to that worst thought.
He has one more. Yep. Here's the thing.
Oh, I clicked it too fast.
This is terrible. We're both on the same thing here. Here's the thing. I don't even think that sucks.
No,
because then that's Nick Roy playing with Parker Kelly and potentially Logan O'Connor, which kind of sick, honestly. Because honestly, I would look at that as like, maybe on paper that's your fourth line. To me, that's your third line.
Yeah,
like that is a line you're going to throw out there that's going to cause some serious problems, honestly.
Yeah.
So again, like, Nick Roy is going to be the more utilized center, regardless of where he is in the lineup. And again, this is not a bad problem to have center depth like this, because again, Jack Drury, elite fourth line center.
Yes.
Bumping him down to 4C is something that we talked about in September. It's like, he's not a bad 3C, but you're utilizing him best as 4C because no one else has a fourth line center like that.
Yep.
And I think that is a huge advantage for this team to have. Center depth is so important. So important. Yeah.
It's the best. So let's move on from Nick Roy. Let's talk about the other trade that happened last night. The Avs traded what they trade for Blankenberg.
A 2027 fifth round pick. I believe it is the lowest of those picks, or it was their own instead of San Jose's that they had for next year's fifth.
Yeah. So you get Nick Blankenburg. I did love the comments just being like, the Avs love 5'9" defensemen.
Yeah, they were without Sam Girard for 10 minutes and they couldn't take it.
Yeah. Nick Blankenburg has been playing for the Preds. He's been good, but to me, this is just the perfect seventh defenseman who, if shit hits the fan in the playoffs and you have an injury or two, you feel pretty good about Nick Blankenburg jumping into this lineup.
I would amend that to say it's the perfect Avs seventh defenseman, because I think a lot of teams look at a seventh defenseman and go, he needs to be Tyler Myers. He needs to be someone who's like 7 feet tall and 300 pounds and can hurt people. Blankenberg is not that. He is the opposite of that. He is 5'9", I believe, 27 years old, and very similar in terms of puck moving skill to a Sam Girard, which fits the Avs and what they try to do, where someone gets hurt in the playoffs, which is going to happen. Someone is going to go down at some point. They're going to have an easier time putting Blankenberg in than a guy who's 6'8" and bad. Like, it's like Keaton. Like, if they tried to put Keaton Middleton in this roster, it wouldn't work. We've tried it. It didn't work at all. Where Blankenberg is not going to knock people into the 300s, but is going to allow everyone else to more seamlessly do their job, basically. Like, if Sam Malinsky goes down at some point, just hypothetically, sticking Blankenberg with Brett Kulak, he's not as good as Malinsky, but like, it's not going to be that big of a drop off. Kulak can just keep doing his thing, which the Avs, they don't want interruptions in their game. This is the style that they like to have on defense.
Yep. I feel great about it. I love the addition. And I don't know what it is, but the Preds and Avs, like, maybe that's why the Ryan O'Reilly thing gets so much steam every year. We seem to make a trade with the Preds every year.
Literally every single time. It's just the one. It's never the one guy that we're talking about with Ryan O'Reilly. It's everybody else.
Yeah, because it's now Trennan, Johansson, Blankenberg. Is there another one I'm forgetting?
Wedgwood,
yeah. It's just the Preds and Avs love trading. Like, it's basically the Preds are a farm system for the Avs to just give us players when we need them. So, and every trade outside of the Johansson one has worked out. So, And even then, the Johansson one still kind of worked out because he got pawned off to the Flyers and we didn't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, we didn't have to worry about it. It's like, yeah, we gave up the first in that deal. It's like, listen, I know Sean Walker is not remembered much here. That was a good deal at the time. Yep. Like at the time, that was exactly the kind of guy the Avs loved. And it didn't work out the way that everyone thought. He wasn't bad.
No, we still go back and you look at that team. That team kicked ass, man.
I've said so many times the 23-24 Avs deserved a better fate. That was a good team.
That was a good team. That was a really good team. And then everything happened with Nichushkin.
Yeah. But to get back to Blankenberg, just to run through some of his stats really quick, he's played 49 games with Nashville, 6 goals, 21 points, averaging almost 18 minutes a game as well. And he might play similar to Sam Girard, except he is way more feisty.
Yes.
Like Sam Girard did not have like that snarl to his game. Blankenberg might not win a lot of those battles because he is small. And that is a concern that he is 5'9". There's really no way around that. But he is going to take a chunk out of your ankle on the boards as well. He is going to at least do everything he can to get that puck battle at the very least. And the Avs, I think they have more of an appreciation for those kinds of players, like those competitive smaller guys that maybe are not going to, win fights or anything like that, but are still going to be valuable on board battles because they're going to try to get there basically. And also just, again, when it comes to injury, provides that security that the Avs do not have to drastically change how they play defense in order to fit somebody else in. For this team, especially again, like we talk about, the Avs aren't great with asset management. This is awesome. A 5th round pick for this guy. I could see him sticking around, honestly.
Yeah,
he seems like the kind of guy that the Avs would not mind keeping around at all for cheap.
Yeah. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but he went to University of Michigan, so he's just a solid.
He was their captain in his senior year, from what I
Solid
remember.
human being. He's just the Michigan products. They just always produce quality human beings and leaders. That's why they are the leaders and the best.
And speaking of leadership, he got a very positive review from Andrew Brunette, head coach of the Nashville Predators, being like, this is a very good culture guy, almost like our Rudy in the locker room. Yeah. Basically. So again, in terms of just a guy to have around, apparently a very positive guy. Again, you look at everything for a 7th defenseman. I like this move a lot. A lot of his underlyings are very, very strong. If he was 3 inches taller, this is a guy who probably makes $3-4 million and
he's probably he's probably locked up in a long-term deal.
A 1st round pick or more to trade for, just with how defensemen are valued in the league. So this just feels like a good undervalued guy that the Avs are going to know exactly what to do with when he gets into the lineup. And who knows, there is potential here for he could stick around. And when I was looking at next year projections post deadline, one of the things they had, if they don't re-sign Brent Burns, is they're going to have to look into a 6th defenseman.
Yep.
That could be Blankenberg. He fits the mold for that.
He does. I'm excited for it. I like the move. And like we said at the top, the Avs covered all their bases in these 2 trades. They got they got their 7th defenseman. They got the 3rd line center. Anything else now is just going to be like a cherry on top. Yeah. We can check it off. They did everything they need to do. And if they add more, awesome. If not, you can look back on this trade deadline and be like, they did everything they could, filled all the holes we thought they had.
And they could do a little more. We'll talk about more of that in about 60 seconds. We're going to take a quick break and get a quick word from our sponsors. We'll be back in 60.
Golf season is here, and Denver Golf Passes make it easier than ever to play. Start your golf journey with Learn and Play 1.0. 5 clinics, 5 rounds, 5 buckets. Already playing? Take your game up a level with Learn and Play 2.0. Or grab the Friends and Family Pass. 20 par 3 rounds and 30 mini golf or range sessions. And for new players wanting reps, the Practice and Play Pass gives you 10 rounds and 15 range buckets. Find the pass that fits your game. Visit cityofdenvergolf.com.
Whoever said work smarter, not harder, didn't realize you could do both.
All right. And we are back. Are the Avs done, Christian? Let's just lead off with that. Are they going to do anything else ahead of the deadline, which is in 18 hours?
I think they're going to do something. I don't think it's going to be a big move. I think it's just going to be like for a fourth line winger that'll just be an additional person to have in the press box, maybe even in like an AHL level trade. I just don't think they're done. But if they are done, I think it's just if they were done with these two moves and they only had like $500,000 left in salary cap, I think people would be like, good trade deadline. But they're going to have close to what, like $7 million left.
So right now, their deadline cap space is about $6.7 million. By the time we reach the deadline tomorrow, it'll be about 6.9. Those are two very great, fun numbers right there as well, which is something like I think we've also trained ourselves on like LTIR deadlines with Landeskog and all the injuries that we've had over the years. Like we forgot like, oh, accruing cap space, that's a thing. Where it's like you get Blake Coleman, he's not actually $4.95 million. He has his prorated cap hit, which when the Avs have made trades over the last several years, we've been getting the full hits because we haven't been accruing cap space because of the LTIR stuff and everything. And you'll say, but isn't Logan O'Connor an LTIR? Yes, but the Avs are not over the salary cap right now. So they are not using that $2.5 million. He's just not in the lineup. That is all clean cap space. So when LOC comes back, they're not using that. Like they don't need to, basically. So there's a lot of interesting things that they could do. It's like an interesting note we just got from Eric Francis that Blake Coleman and Nazem Kadri are both taking warm-ups for the Flames. So
okay.
Maybe unlikely that they're getting moved if they're not like being protected, basically, like a lot of guys do at the trade deadline and everything. But there are still options out there to do. And it just would be weird to have all of this space and not use it because like David said here, which is one of the things I was thinking about earlier, as Peter so graciously reminded me earlier in the day, is that I think they want to pay Burns' bonus this year, which would be like $4 million. It'll be $3 million because Burns is not going to reach that last one. The $3 million one was playing 10 games, which was built in to reach barring disaster, that he's the longest Ironman streak in the NHL. He was going to reach that. I think the next one was like 60 games. We had to average like 22 minutes a night, which he's not going to reach. So it'll be $3 million. And what they can do with the overages basically is they can eat some of that this year and a little bit next year as well. Because again, the actual cap space that they have is about 1.5. So if they don't do anything, they'll eat about half of that. And then the bonus 1.5 overage will be applied to next season instead of the full 3. However, if they do go and make another AHL trade, we're talking like, okay, it's 1.3 instead. So because of how prorated cap hits work and everything. So I think there is a little bit of that as well, protecting themselves for next year. But it just would be weird to have all this cap space in an all-in year and leave so much of it open. They have everything they need. They don't need to do anything else, but they have the room to make it even better somehow.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what they do. Like I'm not getting my hopes up that they're going to get another a very important player. They do have the option though, and it's going to make tomorrow very interesting because it is nice to know you did all your business. You got everything you needed done. And now tomorrow is just going to be wait out the market. Maybe you get like a last minute deal that comes together. Maybe.
Yeah. It's like because if Coleman's coming off the board, basically, because if he's playing, I don't think he gets traded unless the Flames get a package at the last minute that blows them away. I don't think they're looking to trade him if they don't have to. Maybe they revisit that in the offseason. So I'm just kind of Bobby McMahon.
Yeah.
That's kind of the big realistic name left out there because, again, they're set on centers. Again, Nazem Kadri is just not going to happen anymore at this point. It's just not going to happen. They don't need any more defensemen. Maybe they could get still a bigger defenseman, maybe still get like a left-handed shot because they're still very imbalanced on that as well. They could still do that like they did in 2022 with Ryan Murray as well. People forget he was here that whole time. They just didn't. Yeah.
Stanley Cup champion Ryan Murray, bro.
Stanley Cup champion Ryan Murray. We had so many fun conversations in that year. Like, is Ryan Murray going to play ever? Nope. And he played like 12 games. Really. Wow. Robin, thank you so much for the $50, by the way, saying appreciate you guys. Thank you. Shout out to you, Robin. You are the man. We appreciate you, buddy. That is so unbelievably kind of you. I literally don't even know what to say.
I'm very uncomfortable with that. Thank you.
Robin, appreciate you, buddy. You are the best. You do not have to do that for us, but we will appreciate that. Nonetheless, that'll get me dinner tonight. Appreciate it.
That's crazy. Yeah. Like, oh man, Ryan Murray was great. Maybe they get Curtis McDermott back. That's what I would want. That's what I would want.
It's like me wanting Berkey back. You want Curtis back.
Dude, Berkey could still happen. Like, it could. I don't think it will, but it could. So David posted this earlier, and I wanted to we can touch on it real quick about the Nichushkin rumors. Here's the thing about the Avs. I think everyone is on the table if your name is not Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, Marty Necas, and Gabriel Landeskog. I think everyone can be in discussion.
Yeah.
So was I surprised to see him in trade rumors? No. Like, I do think Chris McFarland is going to look at the roster and see how he can make it better. Do I think any of it came close to him being moved? No.
Yeah. I mean, you look at like a Nazem Kadri deal with longer term and everything. How do you make that work? That would have been a very full circle moment for that to have been the trade. But I mean, he has been cold this year. Yeah. He's still been impactful. He just hasn't been the Val we know and love over the last several years. I think it was probably something that was discussed, but I just think with the way the team is right now, I really think team chemistry plays a big part in that, and that is a move that risks, I don't know if upsetting the locker room is a right word, but just jostling things.
That's
basically
a big move, like a big important player going, and you did that all last year with Mikko. I don't think McFarland and co wanted to do that again this year. Yeah. If anything, that's an off-season trade. That's an off-season.
That's what I was going to say. Is like maybe once we get to the end of this year and we look at where we are asset-wise, salary cap-wise, maybe they do revisit that in the offseason. But I also look at that as like Ross Colton. I mean, maybe that gets revisited in the offseason if that is still something that is not going to happen. Like that's could still very well happen before the deadline here, because he has been absolutely snake bit and just hasn't, I don't think, ever really reached what we wanted him to be. Not that he's bad, but like we signed him to be a center and then we just traded for a bunch of centers this year because he's not a center in Colorado. But again, could be something that gets revisited in the offseason, because again, the Avs don't have salary cap issues right now. If they were up against
time in forever,
I felt weird going on Puckpedia and doing all these experiments. I could not fill up their cap space, no matter how much. I had to make like 4 trades to push them up to the salary cap. But like, yeah, when it comes to Nichushkin, it makes sense that teams would ask and that the Avs would maybe listen and see what they can do. But that's a big in-season trade. Maybe that gets revisited in the offseason. And then to David's point here, AJ Greer, I think that's a very strong one, honestly. Evan Rodriguez in Florida, if we're talking about bringing back old friends, right?
AJ Greer would just be another full circle moment, because I remember like when he was trying to come up and he just could not crack the lineup at all.
Yeah, it's like
see what he's turned into. Like, it's impressive. Like, he never gave up. And the thing with AJ Greer, though, I don't know if they need another sandpaper type guy.
Yeah,
like they have enough sandpaper, but we'll see. Should we talk about the rest of the trades around the league real quick?
Yeah, we can go. We can punch through those pretty quick.
Yeah. First big one. Buffalo makes a trade for Colton Parayko. Not so fast. Colton Parayko has a no movement clause, and he decides he doesn't want to go to Buffalo, which I don't blame him. Yes, Buffalo has been an amazing story this year, but Parayko has 4 years left on his contract?
Oh, I don't know it off the top of my head, but
it's like 3 or 4 years.
Quickly.
Is he
going? 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Yes.
4 years left. Is this a flash in the pan for Buffalo, or is this going to be what Buffalo is going to be going forward? You don't know. And he's been in St. Louis his entire career. I don't blame him for having a no movement clause. He has it for a reason. Like, you can get mad at him all you want. He has it for a reason.
It is his contractual right to do that. It doesn't matter what his reason is. He said no. And maybe his reason is, I don't want to go to the East Coast. Like maybe he loves St. Louis. Like I don't know his personal situation. Maybe his family really loves St. Louis. Like it doesn't matter what the reason is. That's it. That's his contractual right with a no movement clause to say no. He's not the problem here. It's the fact that it leaked.
Yep.
It's the fact that it got out and basically put public pressure on him to have to waive his no movement clause. I think the second that it took like more than 2 hours for this to come out, you're like, it's probably not going to happen because maybe he needs to sleep on it or something, but it just feels irresponsible that got, because how does that happen? Like, how does that get out? Because it wouldn't have been Parayko's camp that did that.
It was St. Louis for sure, because they wanted the trade to go through.
Allegedly, St. Louis.
Allegedly, we don't know. This is all alleged, but I thought that would have been a great move for Buffalo. Like, that top four would have been sweet. But you go back 6 months ago, we didn't even know Bowen Byram was going to be on the Sabres. Like, he was in trade rumors all the year. I get not wanting to go to Buffalo. They are our beloved stepchild. We love the Buffalo Sabres, but you don't know if this is sustainable. I think it is with the players they have, but I don't blame him, because Buffalo's been a shit show for 14 years.
Yeah. And also, it's just back to the point of, like, how does that happen? How does it get out to the point where he is now put in an unfair position that he has to publicly make that decision? Guys squash trades with no movement clauses all the time.
Yep.
And you don't hear about it probably 90% of the time, mostly because, again, he negotiated that into his contract. Do I think GMs hand out no movement clauses like candy way too often? Sure, but that is Colton Parayko's contractual right to say, I don't want to move right now. I don't want to go to Buffalo, whether it's he thinks they're not for real and then he risks losing in the first round and getting stuck in Buffalo for the rest of his career, or if he really loves St. Louis, or if he wants to go to the West Coast instead. Like, it doesn't matter what his reason is. And it would have been a great addition for the Sabres, but oh well, it didn't work.
I think it just is too, because you have Mackenzie Weegar waive his no trade clause to go to Utah. So I think it just looks even worse because you have players waiving no movement clauses.
And again, that also leaked early because he didn't waive his no movement clause by the time that trade broke. It still took to this morning or last night?
Yeah, took till this morning. But like, you look at it with Mackenzie Weegar, I think it's a little bit different scenario. Like, Calgary is going to be a team that's going to be rebuilding for a while. We've seen it with St. Louis. They were in the playoffs last year and a second away from advancing to the second round. It's not saying that St. Louis can't bounce back next year. Like, it sounds bad right now, but St. Louis could be in a better position than Buffalo.
Yeah. And you talked about that Mackenzie Weegar trade. It's like, I think that's a really good move it's a good move to go. And still, I think Calgary got a decent return for that as well. They got basically Utah's entire second round draft cupboard this year. They got Utah's second, the Rangers second, which could very well be like the 34th overall pick, basically. And I think Ottawa's second, as well as Oli Mata, who is a decent defenseman who still has, I think, 2 years left after this, that Calgary can then just go flip again. And Jonathan Castaneda, who's a 20-year-old center prospect, like a pretty good return for them as well. And I think that makes Utah much more dangerous.
Yes, it does. I love Utah is a potential first-round matchup for the Avs. They're a pain in the ass to play against. We've seen.
They're also a potential Western Conference final matchup for the Avs if they finish in that wild card spot.
That would be funny. That would be funny. Other trades that happened, you mentioned it with Michael Bunting going to Dallas. We had Michael McCarron go to the Wild.
I have one I want to talk about here because people are talking about how the Avs use their first round pick in 2027. Let's chat about how the Edmonton Oilers used their 2027 first round pick. They acquired Jason Dickinson and Colton Dach for Andrew Mangiapane and a 2027 first round pick and half of Jason Dickinson's salary retained. If you were upset about Nic Roy, I cannot imagine how irate people would be if the Avs made this trade.
They're the Oilers are lucky like that this was only like a 12-hour news cycle, because that trade happens. Me and you both said "defuck" to it, and then less than 24 hours.
I legitimately thought I read it wrong.
It's a great move for Chicago. I love it for Chicago.
That is a fantastic trade for the Chicago Blackhawks.
And Mangiapane, is he a free agent after this year, or does he have 1 year left?
He just signed like a 3-year deal, I think. Yeah. So
they're going to flip him at next deadline and get even more for it. Like, it's a great deal business.
I didn't love him in Washington. I thought he was fine. I had no interest in really keeping him, but I still thought he was like, that's a 15, 20 goal guy. Like, he's got potential for some good stuff. Like, Chicago could just easily rehabilitate him, get him to 15, 20 goals, and then just go flip him for another second. And this is a phenomenal move for them.
So the rest of the West kind of loaded up, but I don't really think that anything's changed in my mentality of Minnesota's a threat. Dallas is obviously the biggest threat, and Edmonton's going to be a threat. Like, I don't think any of them like blew me away at the trade deadline so far.
Yeah. I'll run through the rest of these trades as they've come in here pretty quickly. You stop me when there's one you want to talk about. We talked about Michael Bunting for a third-round pick this year. I would have loved to have been in on that because I feel like that could have been helpful. Warren Fogle to Ottawa for Warren Fogle and a third to Ottawa for Buffalo's second-round pick and Ottawa's third-round pick. Considering the value there, I would have liked to have been in on that as well. I think Warren Fogle would have been good here, especially with just the way the cap was going. But also, I feel like that one at a certain point with the extra year and the 3.5 could have been a little bit of a trick to fit next year. But
could have been a little bit of a trick, but I love Warren Fogle. That would have been one I would have liked. And the price wasn't nearly as much as I thought it would be.
Yeah. And then Nick Dowd finally traded off the Caps, goes to Vegas for Jesper Vikman, a goalie prospect, 2027 third-round pick, and a 2029 second-round pick.
We're already at the point where we can trade 2029. That just seems like a fake year.
That is a 15-year-old child.
Yeah, that's a fake year, man. I don't believe 2029 is going to happen. It's like similar to, did you see that they announced the 2045 U.S. Open where it's going to happen? 2045 may as well be like 50 years away.
Let's get there first.
Yeah, let's get there first. But 2029, yeah, that's crazy. But it is funny, like Nick Dowd, we talked about him for like 3 years coming to the Avs, and he's on Vegas now. But he's been on the decline for a couple years.
Yeah, he's still a very beloved, like high energy guy. The Caps had a crazy, I think, 17-year run of having Jay Beagle and Nick Dowd as their fourth line centers for all that time. And it's gonna be weird as a Caps fan to be like, oh, we need to get another depth center. That's gonna be strange. But I think they got a very good return from him. Again, 2029 second. Doubt that ever gets used. But yeah, that was fine.
What else we got?
What else we got? I feel like every time I click onto the trade page and click back here, I feel like my camera is gonna explode. I don't know if that's showing up on your end, but has it been fine on your end? Does it seem fine for you?
You've been a little laggy, but it's okay.
Fine, and then we'll keep going. And if my computer craps out on me, so be it.
I'll solo it for a while.
Yeah, you'll solo. You're very good at improv. Oh, good. It took me all the way to the bottom of the page. This is good radio. Please don't leave. We talked about the Oilers and theirs, Nick Dowd. Then we got the Blankenberg trade. We talked about Mackenzie Weegar. We talked briefly about Tyler Myers. The Stars, they just really love bad defensemen for some reason.
Yeah, but they'll play up to it. Like, they'll be great in the playoffs. I'm still scarred by Cody Ceci last year.
Was he good last? I don't remember him being very good.
I mean, they beat us. So
yeah, it's just the kind of thing. It's like, well, they just, I don't know. It's like they need their security anchor or something. It's just like their comfort defenseman. Doesn't matter. He's not very good. He's huge. Yeah. So
that's a big defense you're looking at now with Bichelle.
It is funny. You look at like the Wild got Michael McCarron, huge guy, and the Stars, they go get Tyler Myers, huge guy. The Avs respond with Nick Blankenburg, 5'9",
baby.
We will see which philosophy wins.
Yes, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, for Dallas, I think they've done a good job at the trade deadline, but this team's won 10 in a row. Like, you can't really say things they need to change a ton of things. They've won 10 in a row, man.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of it for the deadline. So it's been a kind of a quiet one so far. Like, it could be leading to big deals happening tomorrow, but I was kind of surprised. I looked through it. Like, a lot of the guys we've been talking about, like, they don't have to get traded. Yeah, like there's not a ton of like high end pure rentals out there. Like, a lot of it is like Trocheck's got 2 years after this. Kadri's got 3. Robert Thomas has like 30 or something, however long that contract still is.
2045 is when that contract ends.
2045, like long after the heat death of the universe, basically, is when Robert Thomas's contract expires. And in terms of pure rentals, like it could be a very exciting day tomorrow.
I don't think so.
It could also be remarkably boring.
Yes. I think it's going to be remarkable. I think Bobby McMahon's going to be the big name that gets moved tomorrow.
If he even gets moved, because the Leafs have been talking about extending him.
Yep, we'll see. We got this comment right here. C-Mac Dunn. I think Val and Drury could go in a trade that also brings in Kadri, a 3-way deal. I hate to break it to you. That's not happening. It's just not. They aren't going to do that.
I would be surprised. That's a lot of moving out pieces on a team that's in first place right now. And I mean, there was the rumor from AJ today that Jack Drury has turned down multiple extensions with the team so far, that they've tried to extend. Like we said when the Walensky contract came out, it's weird they haven't extended Drury yet. Sounds like they've tried for the most part. So I would say it's not a 0% chance that Jack Drury gets moved by this time tomorrow, but he is also an RFA. So again, they don't have to do that. Like, again, he could hold their feet to the flames in the offseason, demand a ton of money, but he'll get traded then, not now. Where, again, they could, I guess, hypothetically, they could still do Kadri and trade Drury as a part of it.
That would be so funny.
It would be so funny because then, like, okay, well, now your center depth is McKinnon, Nelson, Kadri, and Waugh.
Yeah, that would be very funny.
That would be hilarious. I just don't see that personally. And again,
well, especially because you traded away the first already. Like, it's just
you traded away the first already. Talking about your 2029 first as well, probably going in that trade. You're not drafting in the first round until we're like dead. So
yeah, probably.
And with the Val stuff, is like, I think there's some smoke to those rumors. I just don't. I think that's a huge trade to make in season when you don't have to. And also, I just think that gets revisited in the offseason. And we'll go from there. I still think they could make a big move. I just don't know the center. Because again,
I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know who it's going to be.
Because like you do have to think like, well, Lecky's hurt. He's probably going to be back relative short order. We don't know with LOC. We don't have a clear-cut answer yet based on the fact that they haven't done anything with him in terms of season-ending LTIR. I imagine they're going to hold on to him and just keep that door open. But they could still do something like that. But I think it would be on the wing.
Yes, I agree. I just don't know who they're going to get. Unless it's a name we just haven't heard that's going to get moved. I just don't know who they're going to get.
Yeah.
Like a Jordan Kyrou mate, like that would be cool, but I just don't think that's
even possible. Cannot even picture how that would begin to work.
Yeah. So we'll see. But we'll be back tomorrow to talk more about the game or the trade deadline. Let's talk about that game tomorrow because we teased it a little bit last episode. This is the biggest game of the year against the Dallas Stars.
Yep. Until the next one.
And it's a crazy 3-game stretch. It's the start of you got Dallas, then you got Minnesota, and you got Edmonton. So it is going to be a speed run of the top 3 teams in the West. And if the Avs can go 2-1 or 2-0-1 in these 3 games, I would be jumping with joy. I would jump with joy. Like that's all I care about. Like you could beat Dallas and Minnesota in these next 2 and lose 10-1 to Edmonton. And I'll be like, it was still a successful 3-game stretch.
Like the Edmonton game, like the important games are against the Central. Like Edmonton, you want to beat Edmonton because we don't like Edmonton. No one here likes Edmonton. Obviously, you want to beat them. You already beat them 9-1. Like they gotta really close the gap for the aggregate there. But if you win these 2 Central games, like you're not mathematically locked in the first, but you're in pretty good shape to win the division at that point. And Edmonton's like forever back.
Yeah, they're like 20 points behind us.
Yeah, they're like 25 points back. You're not worried about anything when it comes to home ice playing them. Whereas like you're more concerned at this rate about a first round matchup with the Oilers and them being a wild card team. That's almost seems more realistic than the Western Conference final. But also who knows with the Western Conference final because none of these teams would be in the playoffs in the East.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. It's just, I am very excited for this Dallas game. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for it though. Like I just, it's excitement and nerves, and it does feel like a playoff game. The first game between these 2 teams, Jake Ottinger. I mean, this game happened like 4 months ago now. At this point, it was.
I think I was moving that day. Yeah, when the trade happened, that was 4.5 months ago, almost 5.
Yeah, and it was the Avs lost in a shootout, but Jake Ottinger was unbelievable in that game. He was fantastic. I expect nothing different from him. Both these teams are well rested. Dallas will probably get all their players from the trade deadline because immigration doesn't matter for them. If Tyler Myers plays tomorrow, I'm going to be kind of pissed because is he an American citizen? He may be an American citizen.
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
My trivia only goes so far.
Yeah. Well, we'll go from there. But I'm very nervous for this game. I think the Avs are going to keep it close. I think McKinnon has a great game. And the Stars have to lose eventually. Why not lose to the Avs tomorrow night?
Yeah. I mean, technically, they've only played teams worse than them. And the Avs are the only team statistically that is better than Dallas. So, I mean, I think it's a great game. Like, I've been looking forward to this game for a while. I don't think the Avs get their reinforcements by the time this game rolls around unless they trade for someone like on Dallas. So like they're not going to get Nick Roy for this game. I would be stunned if he's available for this game. I don't think Blankenberg plays. either. So
they could go 7D. I don't think they do though.
Yeah, I don't like. There's no need for that. You're not in a position where you really need to do that right now. I think this is a great game. I think the Avs get theirs back here. I think they win this game 4-2. I think like Dallas being without Mikko kind of sucks. Like that really does take the fun out of it. So.
Yeah, and David just commented Myers was born in Houston, Texas, so he will be there because he's an American citizen. He doesn't have to deal with immigration. Thank you, David. It's going to be a fun game. I'm very excited for it. I like the 4-2 score. I think it's 3-2 in overtime. I think the Avs get it 3-2 in overtime. These two teams are just too even, and Dallas is playing some unreal hockey right now, but I agree with you. The Mikko aspect of it it's a bummer, but he's going back for the playoffs, and if you can beat Dallas, you get an 8-point cushion over them. That is massive.
Yeah, like you're talking the difference being either a 4-point cushion in the home stretch of the season or an 8.1.
Yeah.
Which, again, also with the games in hand, 8 points with, I think, would still be 2 games in hand at that point, I think, either 1 or 2. Like that feels really tough for Dallas to overcome. Because, again, we're talking like, oh, we're going to win the Central. This is for the friggin' President's Trophy because the Avs are having a historic season right now, and their competition happens to be the one team that's even close to them this year.
Yep. So beat Dallas. That's all I care about. Beat them tomorrow, and we'll be good to go. I'm very excited for this game, though. I think McKinnon's going to have a massive night. Yeah. Just based off what they did in the last game against why am I blanking on it? Who they play? Anaheim.
Yeah.
I think they're going to feast in this game. I think Marty Necas and Nathan McKinnon have a massive game, and I'm going to say it. They win a game on a power play goal.
Interesting. I don't think I'm ready to go that far.
I can go that far. I'm feeling it. I feel good. That's kind of where I'm at.
If that happens, you should buy a lottery ticket.
Well, it would be too late. I should buy a lottery ticket before that, and then I don't know, man. We'll see. Yeah. But a power play goal will be scored for the Avs in that game. And
I think this game is coming at a good time where I think the Avs shook off some of the early rust from the Olympic break. They have Landeskog back. Being without Lecky is going to suck because he's a very important guy on this team, obviously. You don't need me to tell you that. But they're going to get enough of the rest from the 5 games in 7 days, plus shaking off the rust, like I already said, for a perfect time against this Dallas team that is kind of having the same thing as well. I think they played 4 games in 7 days.
Yep.
I'm not sure. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Avs, they pull it out, honestly.
It's going to be an awesome game.
And even if they don't, they got 2 more tries in less than a month because all of our season series against Dallas is in March for some reason.
Yeah. I did see this comment from David. We'll wrap up the show after this. Dawson Mercer might be a surprise move. I wouldn't hate that, but I haven't watched enough Devils hockey to know if Mercer's been good this year. If we got Mercer, I wouldn't be opposed to that. My ideal trade from the Devils is they just give up on Jack Hughes and they just give him the
yeah.
That's my ideal one.
Yeah, why not just get Jack Hughes? Yeah, he's got no trade protection. He's got no say.
Yeah, that'd be funny. But Dawson Mercer would be a cool addition.
Yeah, Dawson Mercer's game. 24 years old. He makes $4 million, 14 goals, 32 points this year in 62 games. I wouldn't hate that, but that still feels like an off-season move.
Yeah. So
there's one surprise at the last second. It feels like every deadline. Last year, Brad Marchand got traded to Florida like 20 minutes after the deadline. It felt like so. There could be something like that. I just don't know if the Avs' appetite is for that big move right now, honestly. Because again, we've said this pretty much since November. Is like they just need to fill a couple spots on this team. They don't need to go big game hunting for the most part. It's like I'm not convinced they're done. They have too much space to be done. Whether or not something happens is a different story. I think McFarland is currently working the phone right now, but I think it will probably be a bottom 6 winger. If I had to put a bet on it, I think the highest I'm willing to set my expectations is Bobby McMann.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I'd be totally okay with that. But we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be a fun day tomorrow, and I'm excited to record it tomorrow, and hopefully we will have good news for the Avs beating the Dallas Stars, and we get ready for the Minnesota Wild on Sunday. That's going to be a weird game just because it's daylight savings that day, so the game's going to be technically an hour earlier than we're expecting. So that's going to be – I thought the same thing. I was like, fuck, it's daylight savings time.
David to the Red Wings for a 4th-round pick.
Who to the Red Wings?
David Perron from the Senators to the Red Wings.
I thought he was still on the Red Wings, if I'm being honest with you. So that shows you how much I paid
That's
attention.
the first time I've thought about David Perron in months.
Yes. But we'll be back tomorrow. I don't think I have anything else, man.
Nope. I think we should. I'm just making sure we haven't missed anything here in terms of trade. We got the Perron one that came through. I think we've pretty much covered everything with it, and we'll see what happens with the deadline tomorrow. This came up fast. Like, I know we were saying, oh, the deadline's going to come up fast, but like the second we got back from the Olympics, it was like, what, a week and a half?
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, if that. So we'll see if the Avs make any other moves either before the night is out or tomorrow. I feel like they got one in the chamber. Yeah. I don't think it's a big one, but I think they've got one thing coming.
If it's a big one, we will be back recording tonight. I promise you that.
Yeah. Regardless, we'll be back tomorrow after Dallas, pretty much no matter what. And then we'll talk about whether the Avs did nothing or did something and how that Dallas game went and how the trade deadline as a whole went. But I think that is going to do it for us today on this edition of the Hockey Mountain High podcast. Thank you to the 240 people that joined us for this trade deadline talk. I was not expecting anything close to that. Thank you to everyone who commented. Thank you to everyone who shared the live stream. We really do appreciate it. Shout out once again to Robin for the $50. That is, I literally don't even know what to say to that. I've never gotten.
That's our first ever donation. So that's
we've
cool.
Literally never gotten given money ever for this show. So I literally don't know what to. Robin, you are the man. We appreciate it so much. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next edition of the Hockey Mountain High podcast. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow me at GR Youngs. You can follow Christian at Christian_Belay, and you can follow the show at Hockey MTN Pod. But again, thank you all so very much for tuning in. Thank you, David, for the compliment of a great show. Oh, wow. I didn't even realize he left so much more. Mine weren't scrolling down for some reason. Sorry for ignoring you, David. I thought you'd gone quiet for a little bit. Thank you so much for the compliment. Thank you so much to everyone who just joined us today. Yep, David Perron trade. We covered that at the very last second. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. We will catch you all next time, which tomorrow, basically after this Dallas game. But until then, let's go Avs.